What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Moo Trades. We're looking at ES futures, and we're going to be going over a nice chart lesson using price action techniques because price action is king. So look no further, step back, relax, and let's get into the video. Right now, the market is about to open, and we're only going to be looking to go long in this market. There's no reason to go short. Overnight, we had a nice move up. So right now we're just looking to continue the trend. So if we get a nice pullback at this 21 EMA, which is the only indicator that we need, we're going to look to pile in and go long, of course. So right now we have one leg down. We go through the EMA. So now at this point, we have to kind of reassess and think, okay, maybe it's time to pause the brakes a little bit. Let's draw our short-term trend. So we have a short-term trend, a break, and a new low. And anytime in any trend where you have a break and a new extreme, it's time to look for a potential reversal or for that trend to be over. So we have a break and a new low of this short-term downtrend. The overall context is that we're in an uptrend, of course. So let's see if we get an opportunity where prices move back above the EMA where we can go long. So if we get a higher low above the EMA, it'll be a confirmation of a two-legged pullback. So we have one leg down here, we have a first entry long, we have another leg down, and here we have a second entry long. So if you have a higher low at the EMA, like we have right here, we're going to look to go long because it's a continuation of the trend and it's signifying that the bulls are still in the market. No reason to go short just yet. However, the signal bar still has to be very bullish. We don't get one here in this case, but it's okay. It's good to know that our chart reading is on point. It just didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. So now prices are getting a little bit stacked. We're getting a little bit sideways, and it really might just be one leg down, two legs down like this because the market does work in twos. We have a ton of support at this level. So now it might have been a significant enough pullback where we can continue the uptrend. So this is another form of a higher low where if the next bar breaks above this one, I'm going to be looking to go long because once again, we have another two-legged pullback even within this second leg. If you count from the high, we have one leg down, we have a break above the previous bar, we have a second leg down, and then we have a higher low confirmation set up after we bounced at the support level. The context here is great. The only thing which might make me a little bit hesitant about this trade is that the signal bar is fairly neutral. So let's see what happens. So in reality, we went below the previous bar and then we had an engulfing bar. So now if we break above this one, this is technically the higher low we're looking for because the higher low is the bar where there is the lowest move in the swing. So in this mini swing down, this created a new low. So I'm going to look to go long above this signal bar. We break above it. So I'm going to place my limit order one tick behind, or if you're using a market order, one tick above this signal bar. And it worked out for a 1-point scalp. It actually worked out for a little bit more than 1-point scalp. So in my method, I like to use the limit order one tick behind the closing of the signal bar. So that's at 41.25. It went all the way up to 43.25. So you would have had a little bit more than a 1-point scalp. And that was a nice trade that I saw to start off the day. So now at this point, we have a little bit more sideways movement. Notice how all these bars are stacked. We're really in a tough situation because if this is now a range that we're playing, we're really just in the middle of the range. So I'm not going to force any longs, any shorts until any significant trend resumes or we get to the extremes, which is the low or the high of this range. But for now, look how many bars are stacked. I'm actually even going to draw another congestion within the overall look of a range we're having. And let's see if we go higher or lower. So we're going to keep going, keep going, keep going. No real entry anywhere here. It's not worth any risk. You actually might consider this as a failed breakout of this mini congestion. It's definitely an aggressive trade, just looking for a scalp to ride it back to the top of this mini congestion. I'll mark it, but it's definitely an aggressive entry. So we do go back to the top of the range, and we're trying to make a new high of the day. But then again, even though we're making a new high and we are technically playing some range rules right now, we don't want to go short because remember, the overall context of the day is that we're in an uptrend. Don't overcomplicate things. Let's only look for long entries unless we have a significant move down. So we reach the top of what could potentially be a range, and what happens? We just get some more sideways movement. So once again, let's draw our short-term trend. We have a short-term trend up, break, new high, and we're just congested once again. So let's see what happens and kind of what is to be expected if we're now playing range rules. We reach the top of the range. So now let's see if we can go to the bottom. And what happens? Exactly that. So we reach the bottom of the range. If we are in a healthy trading range, now it might be time to look to go long, where we can ride prices back up to the highs of the day. But we might get an opportunity right here because we have a leg down, break, new low. So what do we say about trends before? Once there's a break and a new low, it does signify that it might be time to start looking for a reversal. On top of the fact that we already had one bounce here, two bounces here, this is a third confirmation of this support level. This downtrend had a break and a new extreme, triple bottom. You know what? I'll mark this trade as a little bit more advanced setup. And did it work out? It did not. So the reason that this did not work out is simply because it's a trade where you might consider, but it's not a very high probability trade. When you do take trades like this, you want to wait for a higher low, like we experienced here. Notice how I never said anything about taking this trade here because it would kind of be picking a bottom. In this case, it is similar to picking a bottom. Some aggressive traders would take this, but if we're looking for the 90-95% win rate trades, this is not it. You want to wait for a higher low above the EMA, but I could see why aggressive traders might argue for this trade. No trading technique is 100%, so let's move on to the next. And what happens? We just have another leg down. So now we have a higher low here. Let's see if we get a second higher low or a failed second entry short. So double bottom, first entry short, second entry short above the EMA. So this is exactly the trade that I'm looking for. I'm only going to take trades that I'm very, very proud of. And in this case, I would be happy to take this trade, even if it didn't work out. Let's see if it did. We actually didn't get a trigger above it, but in any case, those are the trades I'm looking for. But now the fact that we didn't keep going higher, I'm going to reassess once again what might be going on. It's a tough situation to be in because we really might be looking to actually go down to the lows of the day because the price action is telling us that it is starting to look like a range day. So we do have some more downward movement, but price action is really sideways. It's tough to tell what's going on. No real entries here. Continue to have sideways, sideways, sideways price action. Let's just draw our congestion area and let's see if prices continue working lower. So at this point, it's hard to really pull the trigger on any of these entries. They're just so many bars stacked. You might actually consider this short back here just as a failed breakout of this congestion. But once again, this would be a slightly more aggressive trade because it's really hard to tell what direction the market is headed in. It was a tough day to pick out certain trades, but sometimes it is what it is. You got to just take what the market gives you, and some days you're just not even going to take trades. But once we do have a nice significant trend like this, now it gives us a nice little area of bit of a breath of fresh air once we finally have a significant breakout and don't have a ton of stacked bars anymore. So even though we did reach the highs of the day, we're technically at this resistance level. I'm not going to jump the gun to go short because of this move, which was so significant, and it was not tested once again after we had this break. So notice we had this trend up, we have a break. I'm still expecting to test this high of the day. So we have a first entry long, second entry long failure. So if you took a short at this nice bearish bar close below the EMA, you might have been jumping the gun a bit and you would have got trapped. So that's why we always have to respect these short-term trends. So even though we're technically in a range, or what looks like to be a range, we reached the highs of the day, we went lower, we had a failed second entry long, which we look for. So we have a new high, first entry long, second entry long, failure, nice bear signal bar. If you took this short, you would have been ignoring this nice significant move up. So that's why we have to just always keep the overall context of the day in mind. And let's see if we end up continue working higher. So honestly, this is actually the trade where I would like to take it, because it's signaling that, okay, after this trap, which was a double trap, so it's a first entry long, second entry long failure that failed on itself. So that's a double trap because it's a failure of a failed second entry long. It's getting a bit confusing, bit advanced at this point, but the main takeaway is that you're still expecting a new high of this short-term uptrend. We have a higher low here, confirming that the EMA is holding strong. I'm going to take a long setup here, expecting to go to the new high of the day. Would it have worked out? It went from 42.75 to 44.75. So once again, you would have scalped out for slightly more than a point, but that's why we only go for 1 to 1.25 point scalps. And then we ended up working lower. So now we do have another significant move down. And at this point, because there's so many stacked bars, we just got to do what we always got to do in these situations, where we're going to draw our short-term congestion. And going back to another slightly more advanced trade back here, because we did end up trading below the EMA once again, it's another area where you might have to just reassess what is going on, where we have one leg down, we have a slight break, we're expecting another leg down after, even though this long setup did work out for a scalp, we have to reassess that the price action is telling us, okay, we're getting rejected. We have a nice significant move below the EMA. We're going to come back, test the EMA. So this is a lower high, kind of confirming that this range is holding strong. We might not test a new high just at the moment, because even though this short-term uptrend is in play, technically, now, because we had two pushes to go above the EMA that failed, this lower high is confirming the downward movement. So let's see what happens if we get a nice potential entry here. No real setup, but just a lot more congestion, sideways movement. At this point of the day, you might just want to wrap it up. It's getting late, and that's going to wrap up the video as well. Sort of a tough trading day today, but those are the days where you're going to learn the most. So hope this video provided some value. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and have a good one. Peace out.